If you're a subscriber to this channel, which I'm sure you are, right? Hold up. Let's do this again. If you're a channel subscriber, you know that I love bringing really cool tools to this channel. And that's where we're at today. I got one really cool tool that you may never have heard about, but will save you a lot of money. Welcome to the Tool Review Zone. Let's get it going. So this thing looks pretty cool, right? I paid $65 on Amazon. Don't worry, I'll put a link in the description below for you to check this thing out. Now you're probably gonna say to yourself, why in the heck would you pay $65 for a tool that I don't even know what it does? Well, over time, if you're a woodworker, this thing is gonna save you a lot of money. And it's pretty damn cool. So let me explain. If you're a carpenter or woodworker, I guarantee you use something like this, a dowel. But sometimes you need very long dowels, so you go to Home Depot or your local wood place and you buy very long dowels. And they start adding up, and sometimes they don't even match the wood that you were using. They just look out of place. So we're gonna make our own. So basically this thing has a bunch of different measurements on it. It's a very solid metal, but it's very, very sharp right here on these edges. So be careful with it. It also comes with this tool here. So basically you just have a 1/2 inch adapter. So if this breaks, you can just put a new one in, not a big deal. It's square, square, square. All right, so how does it work? Well, say I'm making something out of pineage or oak. This board right here cost me $8,000, but I'm making a workbench out of it. I want it to look real nice like. But I don't want to use a Creker jig. I want to run a dowel the whole way through to really add some strength to this thing. Well, I can go to my local lumber yard and buy one that I hope fits, or I can just make it myself. We'll say I got my workbench set up. It's looking pretty good, but now I need to attach the top here, and I'm using these 2x4s or oak or whatever wood you're using. I'm going to take a scrap piece of this. Check it out. Now, the biggest dowel that I can make with this is a 5/8. The smallest I can make is a 1/8, but I want something larger. I want something that's going to hold a lot better. So because I wanted a 5/8 of an inch or smaller, I'm going to take my pineage and my oak and I'm going to cut some strips. I want them a little bit larger than 5/8. But if I want a smaller dowel, you don't have to cut them that big. I'll show you here in a bit, but we're just going to slice and dice this right down through. That's the oakage right there. This little piece of oak cost me $15,000. Now say you want a dowel that's maybe 7, 8, 9 inches long. Always cut your dowel or your piece of wood a little bit longer, and I'll show you why here in a bit, but we're just slicing and dicing right now. All right, so here we go. We got some pineage, we got some oakage right there in my hands. I got $34,000 worth of wood. All right, so I showed you that you get this little piece with this adapter here. Now you can use it or you don't have to use it. Me personally, I actually like putting this thing in my drill directly. So what I need to do is I need to carve one end down. So if you're planning on putting this in the adapter, you have to carve it down to where it fits in the adapter, or you just have to carve it down to where it fits into your drill. Now, that said, I do want to let you know, when you carve this thing down, carve it in like a square. If you take off too much on the edge, it's going to break in your drill. It's going to round it off. So try to make it like a square, like a rectangle. Real nice like. Get a sharp knife. That's a Milwaukee knife, by the way. And just slicing, dicing. All right, there you go. Now it's ready to go in the chuck. But you got to do it on the other side. Yep, there you go. Let me show you. See how it goes in the chuck? Tighten it down. Don't go crazy with the dough. You don't want to bust this thing. You just want it, somewhat tight where it'll spin like so. Now you're going to have to carve the other end so it slides down one of those holes. But you can see that's too big. These are way too big right here. So I got to find a smaller cutout, and I think this might do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the rough edges. You can't go on the real small edge, because what's going to happen is you're going to bust that thing. It's not going to be able to go through. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going down. I'm slicing and dicing. Now it's going to be rough the first pass through. I'm just trying to clean that up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this out. It's going to eat it up a little bit, chew it up a little bit. That's fine. We got to take another pass on a smaller dowel here, or the smaller cutout. And you can see, let's bring this here. It's just going to smooth it up here. There you go. And I'm going to show you what this dowel looks like. Then we're going to do the oak. All right, so here's the pine dowel. I'm going to go chop this off on the bandsaw at the two ends, and I'm going to show you how to clean this up and get it real smooth. So all I'm going to do is take my dowel, and I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper like so. And then all I got to do is turn on my drill. I'm going to sand that dowel down a little bit with my sandpaper, and that's real nice like. And yeah, so there's the finished product on the pineage. Now you can sand more to get that completely 100% smooth. I'll show you that here on the oakage here in a bit. But if you want those creases so the gabagoo glue goes down inside there, all you got to do is take a wrench or some channel locks and squeeze and push down, and then you got those nice little grooves on the side. See what I mean? That's real nice like. But what about the harder woods, like the oakage, the cherry? Well, not an issue. We're going to do the exact same thing. That's a piece of oak right here, and we're just going to throw that in the drill like we did with the pine here. We're going to tighten that down just a little bit, not that it spins. We're going to go with our larger hole here, and you spin it. And check this out. It's going to go straight down. Oh, that's awesome. So satisfying. Bring it back up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the next size down. Now, remember, you want this thing to sit down in. You got to make it like a pencil almost in the beginning to get it started, and then you just go straight down with it. Add a little bit of pressure on. Look how smooth that is. That's so freaking awesome. Now you just bring it back up, and if I want to go smaller, I can go smaller with it. But look at that. That is freaking awesome. Say you want this thing even smaller than that. Well, you can just keep on going smaller and smaller with the size of it. Just bring it straight down, add a little bit of pressure. You can see it slicing and dicing all that wood off the side there, blowing all that dust. This thing works really, really well, and it's nice and straight. So we're gonna pull that back up, and now all we're gonna do is sand it like we did the last one. Check that out. That is not sanded. That's what it looks like coming out of that jig. All right, so let's sand her down again and get that all smooth like, and all you're gonna do is hold it in your hands. I think I'm just using 120 grit sandpaper. It's Sand Net from Diablo. I'll put those in the description as well. And there you go. You just chop up those ends, and oh man, you just made yourself a dowel. Now you don't got to run to the store and pick stuff up. You can make them as long as you want them, as short as you want them, and they will match your project perfectly because you're using the exact same wood that your project is using. Again, doesn't matter what type of wood you're using. If you're using hardwood, it is actually easier than pine because sometimes pine will break, but they do a really, really good job. And there's so many different sizes. You've seen them in the beginning. So many different sizes on this jig here. And again, you can do so much with it. So, you know, is it kind of pricey at $65? Yeah, but over time, if you use a lot of dowels or you do woodworking, it's actually going to save you money in the long run. So I love this thing. I think it's really cool. I want to know what you think. Have you ever seen one of these before? And I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to show you how to make one of these here tomorrow on Tool Tip Tuesday. If you don't want to spend the $65, I'll show you how to make a cheap one of these, and it'll work just as good. If you like this video, please don't forget to smash that like button. It's greatly appreciated. Get subscribed, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on that Tool Tip Tuesday. I always appreciate you stopping by. And with that, we'll be back with more videos soon.